wrapping up our look at the official knockoff action figures from Playmates Toys of the Tubular Tortoise Karate Warriors. We have Danny and Mark. These are just still amazing. So again, continuing based on the short Chrome Alone 2, we have the characters from their Mutant Mayhem look sort of style in their garb from that short, and where they saw the video about some company that was using their likeness in some knockoff fashion to create action figures. And then we were just excited to see what those looked like in world. And then Playmates immediately announced they were actually making those figures. So these are 2-packs from Target. You can get them on shelves right now. They were up for pre-orders. They sold out immediately, and then they couldn't deliver them, so they canceled all those pre-orders. But now they're starting to make their way out to stores, and a little bit cheaper than they would up in pre-order. So if you waited, you're making out better anyway. So yeah, the characters from the Mutant Mayhem version are not individually packaged. They're just inside this giant package, whereas the knockoff ones do come on their own card back. So I appreciate that as well. But why don't we just check them out and finish off our set here. All right, we'll start with our holiday special Mutant Mayhem figures. We have Donnie here wearing his glasses, earmuffs around the, or earphones around his neck. He's got his little man purse here, and he's wearing a puffy jacket. Now, I think these clothes are much better than the old school trench coats. I mean, they really do hide the shell and everything. So they work. And then we have Michelangelo. He's here in his little sweater. I think that's pretty cool. And I'm not sure what this dog thing is here, but he's got this as well. These guys don't come with shopping bags like Leonardo and Raph did. They are just chilling out, part of the group. He's got his nice track pants on. I think he's wearing jeans, so he kind of fits in here. But they all look pretty sharp, so they're just additional costumes for your characters based on a Mutant Mayhem look, so you could add them to your set. The real gem here are the individually carded and individually packaged knockoff Tubular Tortoise Karate Warriors. TTKW. Hard to say that after 40 years of TMNT, but we have Danny here. So you can see they're in these ridiculous He-Man style bodies. They look like a kid drew them, and then they became action figures. They really did a great job pulling that look off, and it looks just like it did in the cartoon short. So I absolutely love how they kept it. Still have glasses on, even though he's there in his weird form. So that's kind of neat. So out of the package here we go. We got Michelangelo, or Mark. I'm sorry, Mark here. Again, his weapons don't quite match up with nunchucks. He's got 2 Morning Stars. He's got these weird proportions. He's still got that huge flat head that he has in the Mutant Mayhem world. But you can see the body, very He-Man-esque looking, weird giant shell, weird face look to him. They almost kind of top over because they become top heavy with the way the body is designed. But you could get on the stand. You're just going to have to do a little bit of work on the balancing here. Once you find that center of gravity, they should be able to stand, okay? And then they have this action feature where you can turn them at the waist, and they have that karate punch, as it says. That's basically reminding me of how He-Man used to work. You were able to turn them, and then they would punch there. So we'll open Danny really quick here. It's so weird to say that, Danny. I just love how they came up with these knockoff names that I feel like your grandparent would call them these when you told them about the Ninja Turtles. It's like the mistake they would make and just call it Danny because they weren't paying attention or just didn't care or didn't remember. Same with Raph and Ralph. I think that was the best one because I've heard that mistakenly called him that all the time. So I thought that was just perfectly put together. Wow, this really doesn't want to come off the package here. All right, but we'll take them out regardless. So you have them here in the packaging. We like to use sprue cutters to get these things out. I hate these little rubber band things because they're so tight against the weapons and you don't want to scratch them when you get them off. And I feel like they're really unnecessary because a lot of plastic can be just pushing. So it's just like a lot of extra waste. And it's just a pain in the butt when you want to take your character out of the package. I know people want to display things and keep them in the package, but even then, it just ruins the aesthetic of the figure. So I like to just cut these off. Sprue cutters, gets it out nice and quick, and then we have our Danny here. So Danny, again, same proportions as Michelangelo. The color, slightly different. So they did do the colors at least. If you remember the classic style of the Turtles, they all had slightly different colors. So we have Danny here with his stick, and this is just a ridiculous looking stick. So again, he has the same karate power where he's a tubular tortoise karate warrior, so he could do the karate punch as well. But he has the glasses, so he at least carries that hallmark of the character, like the Mutant Mayhem version of Donatello as well. So these are our Danny and Mark. And don't forget, last time we had Ralph and Nardo, which Nardo is kind of like taken right out of the in-world name they gave him for Mutant Mayhem when they were making fun of him at the high school. So I think this works on that level, but really fun to just have it here in this world. And they all just look kind of weird, but you can see the slightly different shade of colors between all of them. And they still got that weird body portion other than that. But this is your full set. Like I said, all available right now from Target. $20 for a box set of a 2-pack. So you look at it that way, it's $10 a figure. Although I kind of just want these. Maybe they've released them again in a 4-pack of just these guys. But having them individually carded is really cool to have official knockoff figures from Playmates Toys. And then the only other figure from this set would be the Chrome Dome, the weird version of Chrome Dome you saw in that commercial as well. And they made that figure. So we have that figure. We'll do a separate video of him, but we wanted to get the Turtles done. So now we have Danny and Mark rounding out our set. So here you go, all in. If you got all 4 packs, you got your 4 Tubular Tortoise Karate Warriors, and then your 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles characters from that little short that you saw. The short itself, I believe, was on the SpongeBob movie, but you might have seen previews for the short in theaters or at home. But with this 4 packs, you get all these figures. So about $10 a figure, if you think about it that way, which is great. Playmates has always kind of kept that price down to $10 a figure, at least for the classic style line. The last runs are a lot more money, but they are super articulated and a lot more detailed. We did a review of some of those if you want to see them. And their other Elite series characters are also taller. They're like coming around like 7 or 8 inches, and they have a lot more going on with them. But for these basic line figures, I think $10 is a great price point. So grab them at Target right now. I'm not sure if they're back up on the website, but we did see them in stores, and we're starting to see them more and more in stores. We had to do a couple little hunting about a month ago, going to like 8 different Targets before we found all 4. But now I'm starting to see them in more abundance. So just keep checking your Target. Maybe they'll show up there. And then they had that Chrome Dome now. We'll be doing a review on that one next, so you can check out how he fits into the line. He comes on a Mutant Mayhem card back, so it's unclear whether, but he looks like the figure from that commercial. So it's unclear if he's meant to be the figure from the commercial or the figure from the short. I haven't seen the short, but we'll check that out and square it by the time we get to that review. So that's all for this time. Stay tuned for more. Don't forget, we're going to be at Toy Fair next month. We'll be talking to Playmates. So if you have any specific questions you want us to ask them, we'll bring that into our interview. We'll be checking out what they have on display at the booth. We found out that March is the month that we're going to be seeing Scale Tail, Anthrax, and a couple other figures. I forget all the ones. Worm, all the figures that were in that next wave that we saw last year are finally hitting this March. So although the Playmates in December, they kind of jumped the gun and said now available, they weren't really available. We haven't seen them anywhere except for like high prices in the secondary market, but they're not really hitting stores yet, but they should be really soon. So just stay tuned. Again, that's all for this time. Like, subscribe, and follow. See you guys next time.